guys, Ron from FunctionBuilt-Aquatics, and this is the South American Paludarium that is going through a number of different phases. This tank was just recently moved to my new place, and Nathan and I have actually made some changes to it. Right now there are no fish in the tank. Nathan has all the tetras in his 10-gallon setup that he set up and designed on his own. I just want to go over some of the new features, and I'm really struggling in what to put in this tank as far as fish. But let's go over some of the new features first, and then we'll go over maybe some of the possible fish combinations that would probably look well in this tank. We do still have the drain valve for quick and easy water changes. I plan on using this pothos and maybe one or two more pothos that size just like that to grow up and down the iron stand to hide the Eheim filter that's behind this elephant ear. This elephant ear is here temporarily, and then of course the open space in the wires. So I'm thinking about getting more pothos, like I said, and just letting it just go bananas and grow all up and down there, improve the water quality, the air quality of my apartment, and then also act as a pretty nice way to hide all that unsightly piping and hoses and power cords, whatnot. Let's get to the big part of the tank. I just recently planted all this real pretty pink splash and this white splash, which is, I believe, is somewhat related to the pink splash. I'm not really sure exactly what the plant is, to be exact, but I do know that it perked up rather well into the Kessel, and I have the Kessel burning at about 50% its power. So I'm not really trying to fry these plants, but look at the colors on the pink splash. And the pink splash is directly rooted into the clay balls, just like the grass is here. I've had a problem with some of the Bella palms doing well. This one here has been growing in this tank for about a year, and that's pretty much the only Bella palm I've had success with. This large, monstrous plant that's growing on top of the Kessel and now crawling up my ceiling is probably one of the main reasons why this tank does so well as far as balancing out the filtration. This plant was given to me by an individual who had a discus hatchery, and he was using this as a way to filter some of his fry tanks. He had numerous plants of this size, and he gave me a small cutting of this, which has tripled in size and has done really well inside the Paludarium. Just like all the other plants, it's rooted deeply into the clay balls, and the clay balls are actually secured by this expandable foam formation that Nathan and I made. One of the things about this expandable foam formation I love the most is the fact that it looks so super realistic. It looks like lava rock that literally cooled at the surface of the water and formed a natural barrier. And I have different mosses and riccia that I have growing on it. It acts and looks just like real rock, but is easy to work with, and you can make it to any size that you want. The Amazon frog bit that's in this tank, I'm actually seriously considering taking it all out. But right now I'm going to let it stay because it's helping with the maturation process. And my biggest problem with Amazon frog bit is the fact that the roots tend to grow pretty long. Now this tank is a 20-gallon long, missing about a quarter of its height. So let's say it's 15 gallons overall unfilled. Once you figure out the sand, the formation, the clay balls, the wood, and the rock, my guesstimate is that there's probably less than 12 gallons of water actually in this tank. Yes, this tank is only a 12-gallon tank, holding 12 gallons of water. This looks larger than what it is, but it's only holding 12 gallons. I've had very good success with schools, large schools of tetras in this tank, but I do not want to put a glass top at all on this tank. So that rules out bettas. I originally thought about putting one of my larger Unamaculata complex males in here with a small school of rasboras and have sort of that symbiotic type of relationship and see how these fish interact with one another. But that's an absolute impossibility without having a glass top. So I'm debating on the type of fish that would do well in this tank. I know white cloud mountain minnows aren't necessarily known for being jumpers, but I do know that tetras do, and I've had tetras jump out of open tanks plenty of times in the past. And it's tough, you know, it's really tough. I mean, I'm so torn that I don't want to put a lid on this tank. That's the reason why there are no fish in this tank right now. So maybe if you guys give me some suggestions on a really cool, colorful, schooling, sociable fish that would do well on an open tank like this, and not jump out. Now I could put some sort of a floating plant other than the Amazon frogbit, maybe a Zola, I think is how it's pronounced. And a Zola would definitely cover the surface of the tank, but it would impede the light going down. And I don't think the Anubias would suffer from it, but I think in the end it would still make the tank way too dark underneath. So let me see if I step back there with some of that glare. You know, a Zola would cover it up at the top. The roots do not grow long at all. You wouldn't even notice the roots. And it would probably act as a fantastic nitrate absorber. The other plants that are in this tank that are basically simple plants I'm using are, of course, Java Fern and a decent size grouping of Anubias. Nana. The water flow itself is dialed all the way up. I'm also debating on placing the spray bar back on this tank, which will agitate the surface more and give me more of what you see there, the glitter lines across the whole entire sand bed, which the glitter lines look so super cool and way more natural than is still surface with no glitter lines at all. So this is Ron from FunctionBuilt-Aquatics. This is the South American Paludarium, but it can also be an Asian Paludarium if we decide to go with rasboras. But I know I'll have to have a glass top if I kept rasboras. If you guys can suggest any good fish that will be able to do well in this tank without jumping out, open tank, let me know. The surface is pretty close, as you can tell. Thanks for watching, guys.
Today.